This is in our processes is because the operational and the process KPIs are not available in a transparent and real-time manner, which means we have maybe the latest ERP system, SAP and everything. We have the latest automation, but these are not integrated. We are working in silos, especially on the process side. So a process log sheet, some of the units still have the operator writing down on the log sheet. Finally it's entered in the SAP, but it's still written down. Some of the units are a little bit advanced. Maybe we have ways of putting it directly into the system, but the the critical points are different in every of the manufacturing units. So we work in silos, and our expectation, in fact, we are going for a new greenfield plant near Pune. We have already acquired land for that, and we intend to go for a manufacturing execution system, which is MES, I think, which we are talking about today. And what Vinay mentioned about a visual factory is something which we are going for. We have a plant in Chennai where we also intend to go for that. And basically, when I enter a factory, I ask the person, what is your gap? Where is your gap? Unless you know your gap, you can't work on it. But the gap is maybe available as a lagging indicator, not real time. What's your productivity today? What's your OE? This information is not available at the click of a button, but we should have that. So my expectation out of this round table is that I get certain inputs. Okay, already I have some. We are working with some partners on developing the manufacturing execution system across the sites. But my expectation is I get more information from the stalwarts who are here, so that I could, make a better template, go ahead and implement it in a better way.
Yeah, thanks. We are all learning from each other. Mr. Gonkar.
Job is more laborious, and really it's a challenge to improve the per person production. It's a really challenge. Though we are using Barco, SAP and TOC, but still it is very difficult to manage the shop floor. So though the machines are very new and modern, but there is no much automation in our industry. So my expectation is that there must be some focus on the automation in textile industry.
Hi. Uh, as Rajan told that we are also in lifestyle business, and in suitings and shirtings the trends are changing so fast that there are many things that if you're not on the toes, if you make the things, the fashion has gone. So in textile you have to be very responsive, and you should know the trend in advance which is coming. And here we are doing in the complexity is very high in textile. There are a lot of blends, counts, shades, because the taste is different. And as a Raymond, we believe in world class. So we have survived more than 90 years. We are celebrating 90 years this year. So this is all due to that excellence. But nowadays the things are moving very fast. The lot size is going very short. Previously there was big lot size and the time period was more. So the things we could manage it. But now the things are going very fast and the lot size going very low. So Raymond as a group, we have implemented many technologies, like my friend told me, TOCs, wireless barcode system which is a smart shop. But basically in textile, the OEMs, mostly the OEMs are there, and they have the close-ended softwares, you can say, and to integrate that, it's a big challenge. Now we are trying to get, we are contacting different vendors who can tap the data from their machines, and we can have those on connected to our ERP system. So we'll be very delighted if someone can, because we can't, as per machine requirement, we can't change their software and logics and all. So we need someone who can really make, integrate the things, and from there we can have the data more faster and things. And this is the thing. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Mukherjee, before you speak, we are looking forward to hearing from you because he brings with him the various sectoral overview from Aditya Birla Group at the corporate level. So we really look forward to your views, right from cement and textile to telecom and others.
Yeah. Thank you. So when we talk of manufacturing in Aditya Birla Group, it's a very large canvas. Even if I take Hindalco, it's a $15 billion company, and you start from mining, bauxite mining, to alumina, to smelting, power plants, and right after the downstream products. So let me start with some examples, and that would probably make it clear what smart manufacturing is. Let me take the downstream example. That means you produce aluminium finished products for the, let's say, automotive sector, where your customers are Daimler, Audi, Jaguar, etc. And how do you supply a plant, let's say, in Stuttgart or somewhere in Munich, for example, BMW, one single line catering to different series. And there is so much of flexibility needed to be able to supply. And your product is such that you have different gauges, which will probably go into one single car having 20-piece parts of different gauges, shapes, sizes, and whatnot. And then the schedules are so much flexible and so much more demanding that if you have a stoppage in a line, then probably you'll have to pay $10 million or 10 million euros of fine. So it's a rather challenging environment. So being smart means that you cannot really afford to have any single coil having any defect. It creates a huge sort of a disruption in the entire chain. So it means that all your processes have to talk to each other. All your equipments have to talk to each other. The problem is that the human beings don't talk to each other. Where the data needs to be there, where the information needs to be there, we mostly find that that is the place that it will be absent. So the first step is, of course, to see that you remove all these silos. And you remove the silos of the customers end as well, because you need to have a completely transparent understanding of the customer's process. And this operates in two levels. One is a transactional level. One has to operate also in the strategic level. So that's another level of understanding. So this is one example of getting the quality right, let all the processes be integrated, connected, and thirdly, of course, the issue of collaboration in the entire value chain. So this is one example I can give. The other example I'll give is, which is a very, very extreme example on the other side, from our mining. Let's take the case of mining, and you'll be surprised to note, I don't think there are too many mining people here, so I can take the liberty of giving this example. India has actually progressed in the minerals and mining sectors extremely well, thanks to some of the judicial activism. Today, the entire mineral and mining sector is operating on a web-based transportation system. So anywhere in any of the government office, if you want to track any vehicle, it has got the registration number, it has got the transit pass, everything is electronically done. And this India has been able to implement in just about 16 months' time, which is quite remarkable. In every mineral which is moving in the country, this has been implemented. Just imagine a mine, and we have a mine in our group. SL Mining is operating in a mine of 25 million tons within just 25 square kilometers. Imagine that it produces 1 lakh tons of coal every day. In such a small space, you have to move that, and you have to transport that outside of your factory to the different places. And this means that you have to do it in a manner that you don't have queuing of vehicles happening. So the vehicles have to be properly organized, the drivers have to know what is to be done, there has got to be safety norms in it, and this is done seamlessly. This is something to really go and see in one of our mines, and how that is being done. In fact, in mining, starting from exploration, the way today the 3D imaging is happening, the borehole data is getting captured, and after that you start with the blasting, which is an remotely controlled electronic system, where even 50 meters from a village you can do blasting. That's possible with today's technology. So that's about mining and exploration. And then of course the issue of the digital sort of mapping which is happening, that the government offices today, sitting in their office, can actually track up to what distance of the map the mine has actually progressed. And the government, if they find that it's 50 meters from a forest or 50 meters from a water body, they could actually, from their office, they can actually track it down.
Even for coal in here?
Yes. So mineral, I think it is progressed very well. So this is another example in the mining sector I wanted to give. Take the case of a power plant. We have 50 turbines in our group, from 100 megawatt to 150 megawatt. Some are on the lower side. I can give an example of predictive maintenance of a particular turbine. And I was heading that unit, so I really know that. That for 9 years we ran a turbine without stopping it. 9 years. I think that's a record, because you need to really stop the turbine and do the maintenance for at least a month. But thanks to 3 things, I would call. The first is the typical problem in a power plant is that the different systems don't generally talk to each other. So you have a TCS system, a DCS system, and lots of PLCs around, but because of the communication protocols being different, they don't talk to each other. So you first of all have an integrated system, so that each one of these subsystems are talking to each other. And you have a way of measuring data on a continuous basis, and then you know exactly what all things to be done, so that you're able to have a much more prolonged sort of a running time. And this has been quite effective in our power plant. There are many other examples, and I think I'll take one other example, maybe in the retail space, which is very interesting for all of you, especially with e-procurement also coming up. I think the major challenge of logistics is that you are dealing with so many different external constituencies, so many vendors. Imagine that you are dealing with, let's say, something like a sweater that you want to sell on your shelf, and you need to really track that this vendor, when is he actually starting the process of knitting and starting the process of stitching, and how are these schedules really connected with your schedule of selling? Is there a way of really having a seamless sort of understanding, communication in the entire chain, and how to do that? And you're dealing with people who are not really that knowledgeable in the process, and maybe not that experienced. So how do you do that? It's a major challenge for us. And I think we've talked about it. Somebody also mentioned it. It's ultimately people, process, and technology. And then how do you collaborate in a manner that this becomes a sort of a seamless this thing. So as we go along, we'll give more examples. I think I'm also learning from the others. Thank you.
Mr. Panda.
Yeah, good evening. I am from an industry where it is into commodity engineering, where the cost factor is very important. So now steel prices are going down like anything. Every day there is every month at the end of the month we look at it, how much steel price is going down, and how much inventory you should keep it up, and how much material you should sell it to the market.
which makes us to think more into how we will manage the inventory. Then there are so many players in our industry. Hardly there are 4 to 5 major players who are into who are the mostly supply around 40 to 50% of the total market share, but there are 50% market share captured by local industries. So operation cost became very important for us. So we always try to look at how best cost we can cut down in the manufacture process, so that you can able to pass the lower cost product to the market. Then lead times, how fast you can cater to your market. So basically 3 things we like to address in our industry. But when you talk about that, how the smart manufacturing can help me out? We don't have any real-time data available, which is more important. If as exactly he is talking about it, different systems don't talk to each other. So there are different systems have been put it up, but we don't have integration to each other. So once you integrate the systems to each other, then you will find out the real-time data, and based on the analysis, we can able to resolve a lot of issues from the smart manufacturing. Then another point, talking about it, peoples. Okay, people don't talk to each other. So there is system, there are processes are there where people development which can be done. Okay, not in this industry. My previous industry, I used to have a system called Monojukuri, which is nothing but people development. How best you can develop your peoples to perform to their best. If you develop your people, then they will give you the best of best. Until unless you develop people, you can't able to get your best.